You're listening to the PRO Media Network, the next level in entertainment.
You're listening to the Pelicans postgame report on the PRO Media Network for all things Pelicans.
For all things Pelicans, you're now tuned into the Pelican postgame report on the PRO Media Network. What's going on, family? Welcome to this installment of the Pelican postgame report called The Search Continues. As the search move on, the Pelicans did interview Tyronn Lue. He's considered a favorite for other jobs, but we'll cover all the latest Pelican news and notes on this installment of the Pelican postgame report. So once again, good to see the family members in the live stream. Brian, GM Kev. Big ups to the family member. Appreciate y'all. As we bring a DC, I can contributor back in here. How you doing tonight, DC?
You good, man?
Good to hear from DC.
It's all good, man. It's all good.
All right. Good to hear that. On this installment of the Pelican Post-Game Report, family, we're going to cover a lot of news and notes pertaining to the Pelicans. Of course, we're going to talk about the various reports that circulating around trades dealing with Jrue Holiday. DC is going to brief us on the latest trade scenario that they're talking about. Of course, the story we're going to lead off with is the Pelicans head coaching search. We'll talk about two names that's not talked about. As we made mention of this particular coach's name before as a candidate for the job. Also, the article is from Forbes entitled "The Pelicans' Next Coach Must Agree on Lonzo Ball." We'll get into that. I know DC's breaming to talk about that. Alvin Gentry, where he ended up, and the fact that we called it last show and why he ended up where he is. We'll talk about that. And then, of course, we'll talk about on the back end of the broadcast, the Pelicans, Jrue Holiday named teammate of the year. We'll give the particulars on that as well. So once again, I'm Big Q. DC is chiming in tonight on this edition of the Pelican Post-Game Report. Big ups to DJ and the rest of the family for joining us on this installment of the show.
DJ.
Tonight on this edition of the Pelican Post-Game Report. Big ups to DJ and the rest of the family for joining us on this installment of the show.
DJ.
All right, so here we go. We're going to start it off with the news of the pretty much of the show is the Pelicans head coaching search. One coach they interviewed thus far was Tyronn Lue. Who's next? Of course, various reports indicating that Wil Weaver is a guy that's considered and another guy who's thrown into the fray that most people probably never heard of is Jamal Mosley. So we're going to cover both these guys and give you some information about them as well. Big up to Teal. What's up, my dog Teal joining the live stream as well. The Jasper, who that to you? So we got all the family members coming together. So thank y'all for joining us in this installment of the show. And much love to all the family members in this one. So big ups. All right, now we're going to start it off, family. We're going to start off with this one here. And this was reported from Adrian Wojnarowski. He stated last month that the Pelicans coaching search was moving at a near snail's pace, with formal interviews having not yet begun. Fast forward a little over 2 weeks and very little has changed. Okay, Brian Whithurst, Mark Spears, and Tim McMahon, who are listed as insiders, tackled the topic on the latest episode of the Hoop Collective with inside from their positions. Now, Tyronn Lue remains the favorite according to their reports, but with the Clippers' job sitting open, there's zero guarantees that David Griffin will be able to bring him to New Orleans. And, of course, we know that Tyronn Lue is more David Griffin than the general manager, Trajan Langdon. So, you know, right. That's remember, the general manager is Trajan. So let's remember that. And let's keep it going. He says, I think Griffin was interested in hiring Lue, who won his championship with Cleveland. When Hurst said, I think Tyronn Lue was interested in Philly, I wasn't sure that was going to work out. I think Griff thought he was in decent position. Again, as you mentioned, McMahon, New Orleans was going to have to pay to get Lue, but I think they were willing because Griffin was seriously looking there. Now with the Clippers, I mean, if Ty Lue was interested in the Sixers first, of course, he's going to be interested in the Clippers. So I don't know if they don't get their top pick there, what direction they're going. And of course, Wendy, y'all know Windhurst, proceeded to throw out his call. And, Brian Windhurst is pretty accurate when he comes to inside news. I would consider him one of the tops behind Adrian Wojnarowski. Windhurst is pretty good. And he said, from Wendy, he says the current coach, Wil Weaver, is the guy that he's hearing is leading the Pelicans coaching search. And he's the current coach of the Sydney Kings in the basketball, the NBL, which is the league out in Australia. He says, I've heard all sort of underrated names there. Wil Weaver, who right now coaches the Sydney Kings of the Australian League. He was previously with the Nets and Long Island Nets when Trajan Langdon, who is the GM now with the Pelicans, was there last year. The Pelicans had a draft pick, which was Didi Louzada, who was the 35th pick last year. He's a guard. They sent him to Sydney, partially due to the connection between Langdon and Weaver. Whether or not he's a legitimate candidate for the lead job or in his assistant, this is super duper important, according to Wendy. Now, Tim McMahon, who's pretty good in his own right, countered with saying this. He said, under the radar name is Jamal Mosley. Like, who the hell is that guy? Well, right. Jamal Mosley is an assistant coach with the Mavericks for the last 6 seasons under Rick Carlisle. He's his lead assistant. It's important to note that Mosley was in Cleveland prior to his current stint with Dallas during the same time frame as Griffin. Remember, this is all about relationships and connections. And this is what he said. He said, I'm going to mention one name that I think is going to be a candidate there. McMahon said, I definitely think it fits the mold as far as being someone who's extremely popular with players, is great at developing relationships with players, and has some history with David Griffin. That is Mosley. The assistant with Dallas, he's Luka's go-to guy. He's the Mavericks defensive coordinator, which is, his job in that role is to make chicken salad out of chicken feathers. I know Rick Carlisle feels Mosley's interviewed for several other jobs. I believe he's going to interview with the Pelicans. I don't want to be firm on that, but that's what he's hearing. Now, Windhurst wanted to follow up McMahon's information, but stopped himself saying, I know some stuff that I can't really say here because I'll get in trouble. Regardless, one thing Windhurst continuously emphasized during the podcast was the importance of Griffin's filling New Orleans coaching vacancy correctly, their vacancy correctly. He says a big job with Zion. It's a really big job. That's not Zion's hard to handle, but it's more about, is this the guy that they've got to get him to motivate him? One thing about Mosley, he can command respect in the room. McMahon replied next, and he's one of the few assistant coaches who, if it's back alley brawl with NBA players, is going to beat him. It's going to you bet on him 95% of the time, which says that he's a tough, what. But Windhurst doesn't think Griffin will limit himself to hiring a big name, but at the same time, we don't expect there to be money constraints on salaries from ownership. Griffin is going to do what he thinks is right. And on the other item to note from the particular collective was Windhurst brought up the fact that Holiday's name was mentioned in rumors before the trade deadline, and his future with J.J. Redick could be important decisions that need to be addressed the offseason. This is what they said about Drew. I think they took some phone calls on Drew, last February. I don't think he was out there, but I think it wasn't like they slammed the phone down. I think there's a possibility in play. They've got some big, giant decisions to make. Let's get the big, giant decisions of the naming head coach in New Orleans Pelicans out of the way first. So big ups to the guys at the Bird Rights. That was a terrific article in which I read there. Really excellent article. They really covered the waterfront on that. Let's move into it, DC, and let's start off with that. We know about the Drew Holiday stuff. That would have been a perfect segue into that. But let's address the coaches first, and then we'll move into the stuff about Drew Holiday. What do you think about the idea about Wil Weaver? We've said this before. When we were covering all the coaches in the prior shows, we threw Wil Weaver up there, even said that we think that he's the next coach. What do you think about Tyronn Lue, Wil Weaver, and what they're saying about the coach Jamal Mosley?
You put it right. You say Wil Weaver first, man. I like the idea of Wil Weaver because it's a fresh coach. It's a coach that doesn't have any history with David Griffin. I don't want nobody who got history with David Griffin. No, it didn't work. Let's get somebody else. So I don't want nobody with him from Phoenix. I don't want nobody with him from Cleveland. They went to how many finals and won how many? Well, the Warriors, what was that, like 4? And they won one of them? I don't want none of them guys. You know, I like the idea of Will Weaver. It's a fresh start. He's innovative, kid genius type coach. You refer to him as an Eric Spoelstra type. I think that's a better fit. But I do like Jamal, man. Like he's a defensive guy on suit, and you see what he's over there doing in Dallas, and he's said to be Luka's go-to guy. I mean, that's a pretty powerful sentiment. Luka was probably the third best player in the NBA last year. Some people would say first. So a guy that is that, and he's constantly going to this guy for information. He's obviously respected by him, top player in the NBA, and I don't think it'll be easier to get another player of his caliber's respect. And he's a back alley brawler. Defense is a strong suit. He's got a lot of young players to coach and develop. I think that type of attitude and tenacity for what he is and could be would be great for us as well. But Will Weaver leads the search to me. And man, how many times are we gonna speak on Tyronn Lue? We know what he is. You know, some people say LeBron did it all. I think Tyronn Lue is a good coach. My thing with him is the same thing, the same drum I've been beating. What he developed? What has he made? Maybe he baked cookies at his house, but I ain't seen him develop no players. You can't give him credit for LeBron. What other players they had in Cleveland that turned into something? I'll wait. So that's my thing with Tyronn Lue. Like, they got to be ready-made already. I think he would have been a good coach if the Nets decided to take him. I think that would have worked. Even if he goes to the Clippers, I think Tyronn Lue can make that work. He has a proven track record of having some big players play together, and they made it to the finals. So he obviously has to be some form of exceptional coach to be able to do that. I'm just not sure he's built for the whole youth movement we got here, and growing young men into grown men.
Yeah, that's an interesting call when they put Jamal Mosley in there, man, and he's a guy that spent a lot of time under Rick Carlisle and learned a lot of Rick Carlisle's acumen in terms of his offensive style of playing. Rick Carlisle is a pretty good damn coach in his own right, man. In a few years, you're looking at Dallas challenging for another championships. You know, they had a few more pieces along with Luka and the Unicorn, man, and you might need to look out for Dallas. I would say they're a lot closer than Houston is with Houston, depending on what their coaching hire is going to be. But that's the great thing to also speak about is the fact that whoever it is, and Will Weaver's no punk either. I mean, he's a guy that's really tough. You know, he knows the schematics, offense and defense, and disciplinarian, and he's a great communicator to the young players as well. So, I mean, these are interesting pieces. We talked about Tyronn Lue, and like you said, it's beating a dead horse. We know that favorite to land the job. But remember, David Griffin isn't the general manager. It's Tyronn Lue. I mean, not Tyronn Lue. It's Trajan Langdon is the general manager for the Pelicans. He makes the call on who the guy is going to be. You know, and I think it was a mini split there with him for a second before Langdon. You remember that? We had that discussion, and then, of course, and then everything happened like we covered it on the last show. So it is. All right, DC, now before we move on to our next story, which actually is a perfect segue. We talked about on the back end of that article, they made mention about the Drew Holiday and possible trade scenarios occurring. What are you getting? What more credible? Because there's a lot of stupid trade scenarios out there, but you were talking offshore about a really credible trade scenario. This is a perfect segue for that.
Well, it's slightly, maybe more of a suggestion. It's got to be tied to something. We had the whole thing with the Nets where they were suggesting, or what is it, Brandon Scoop B. Robinson of the Heavy.com reported that they were going to give up Spencer Dinwiddie, Jared Allen, and Denza Musa to us to bring Drew Holiday to Brooklyn. Ever since Kevin Durant went on JJ Redick's podcast and he went and talked about how Drew Holiday is the best defensive guard in the game. This coming from probably, when healthy, the best player in the game. I mean, we would all agree that Kevin Durant is better than LeBron at full strength. So that's very big sentiments, and ever since then, there's all these rumors about him going to the Nets. Well, now, because we all talked, and maybe they heard us, we were saying, if Karis LeVert was in the deal, then, I mean, man, you really got to think about it. So the new deal is Dinwiddie and Karis LeVert for Drew Holiday, but no Jared Allen. I'm not sure how I feel about that. And the more I start looking at all of this with Drew Holiday, I'm wondering if we should just keep him if he want to be here. But this is the new news: Spencer Dinwiddie and Karis LeVert for Drew Holiday, coming from the Bleacher Report. So the Bleacher Report is a very well-known site, and they have a lot of credible information. So maybe this is something, or maybe this is them just inquiring or going off the rumors that leaked earlier on the Jared Allen and Musa and Spencer Dinwiddie trade. So Dinwiddie actually responded to it on Twitter. So I thought that was very curious. Out of all the trade scenarios that's out there about Drew Holiday, ain't no players responded but Spencer Dinwiddie. So just think about that for a minute.
Yeah, that's true, and definitely Durant and Irvin, they definitely pushing that to get Holiday there as a third component. What they have, and I don't know if I'd still take that trade. I still want Allen in there. There's
no Musa in this hypothetical trade.
Okay, so
Dinwiddie and LeVert.
Okay, I don't know if I like that. Although I really like Karis LeVert. I do like Karis LeVert. Not so, and Spencer Dinwiddie is all right in my book, but I still want, if they do that, of course, it's draft picks. Maybe I can get a pick. Maybe I can get Jared Allen and Karis LeVert. Won't you keep Spencer Dinwiddie? What do you think about that?
I think that's good, but the only thing I look at when we start thinking about these things is, do we want these guys to just grow over the next 4 years and turn into something? Or are we trying to speed up the process? I think if you want to speed the process up a little bit, I think you actually keep Drew Holiday and you let them build and grow as a unit. Yeah, you let them grow as a unit, man. Give them some continuity, some stability. Don't change everything up. But I like Karis LeVert and Jared Allen. If I was going to make a trade for Drew Holiday, that'd probably be one of the best ones you can get.
Yeah, you're not kidding about that, DC. I think the thing that we need to pay attention to with all these weird trade scenarios, and of course, as we get closer and closer, the first major obstacle that the Pelicans have to solve, they have to solve and get the coach of whoever it's going to be. They have to be able to pick the right coach, because obviously, you ain't going to have multiple shots right here. You screwed up by not firing Gentry when you came through the door. That puts you back. You could have had the coach set in. We could have been into year 2 of the development, of trying to get into 2 years with a scheme already built in place, as opposed to messing around with Thunderbird over there. But the reality is now we moving forward and we have to find the correct coach. I don't know if it's Tyronn Lue. Tyronn Lue wants that money, and he really likes the opening with the Clippers to go back there, and he's not really my favorite to sit on here. But perhaps the number one guy I know that the Pelicans were really looking at is still coaching. So, whatever the score is right now the Heat are up 72-70 on the Lakers in the middle of the third quarter. So let's say the Lakers knock off the Heat and win the championship. That pretty much means that you'll hear a lot of teams go after Jason Kidd, and try to see him, because maybe he's another guy they're looking at. I know that Pelicans are interested in Kidd and they interview him. So I don't know, man. It's still not enough, man. They say they're going to take their due diligence. They did say that, and they're not kidding, man. They are really dragging their feet on the coaching search, and I'm not upset. But Will Weaver's name keeps popping up because of his relationship with the current general manager, Langdon. I'm not crazy about Tyronn Lue. He wants the money. Outside, I think he wants $7 million. He wants $7 or just north of $7 million per year to be the coach. And as it's showing you, David Griffin was only allocating $5 million toward the next coach. So if you get a guy like Weaver or Jamal Mosley, those guys are they're not gonna command such a heavy price. So you can get a quality coach. And always, like Wil Weaver, a lot of people, he's not a name brand guy, but listen, he puts me in the mind frame, his coaching style of two coaches that are incredibly successful right now. Number one, Spoelstra, Eric Spoelstra. The attention to detail came up from the ground up. And the other guy is Quinn Snyder for the Utah Jazz. Same type of guys that paid their dues in lesser leagues and climbed up to be coaches in the major league. So that's what I see. But anyway, about the break is coming in. When we come back on the other side of the break, we'll finish our breakdown on the other stories that we're dealing with. We got New Orleans Pelicans next head coach must agree on Lonzo Ball. We got Alvin Gentry's new landing spot, and we also have Drew Holiday as a teammate of the year. We'll cover those stories on the other side of the break. You're listening to the Pelican Post Game Report on the PRO Media Network. Stay with us.
Remington Tax Solutions is a company that, together with their partners, provide virtual tax consultation and preparation for individuals, small business, and nonprofit. They also provide notary and a host of other business-related services for their clients. Their associates provide a systematic yet very client-centered approach to their services. They offer the industry knowledge and insight to help solve your most complex tax issues. At Remington, their currency is time, the one resource that cannot be replenished. For that reason, they utilize the simplest and most effective forms of technology to make their services faster and more efficient. No need to wait in the office until your taxes are completed. Simply upload your documents via the Taxes to Go app or via their client portal, and they'll take care of the rest. Remington Tax Solutions is a member of the National Association of Tax Professionals and participates in the IRS Annual Filing Season Program, which is a voluntary tax education program to stay abreast of the ongoing changes in tax legislation. Remington Tax Solutions has a strong connection to the communities in which they serve. It is a part of their mission to make a positive impact on the lives of their neighbors. So, if you're looking for a reliable, effective, and trustworthy tax preparation service, Remington Tax Solutions is the business for you. Contact Remington Tax Services at their number 682-307-4410 or simply go to remingtontax.com. That's remingtontax.com. Remington Tax Service, virtual tax preparation for the individual and small business.
Get straight sports talk from the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys.
Embrace Pet Insurance is more than just pet insurance. Embrace Pet Insurance promises to provide genuine support and certainty when your pet needs it the most. With personalized accident and illness policies, compassionate customer care, 24/7 access to veterinary professionals, flexible wellness plans, timely claims processing, and online customer portals, their values is what makes them Embrace. So, when selecting a pet insurance company as a partner in your pet's care, you deserve a company that has your pet's best interests at heart. Get top-rated and reviewed coverage for your pet today. Up to 90% back on bills at any vet, total protection, pet insurance and wellness, and dependable claims payments. Get the top-rated and reviewed coverage for your pet today. Go to EmbracePetInsurance.com. That's EmbracePetInsurance.com. Check the link in the description section below.
Get all the latest news and updates from your New Orleans Pelicans at the Pelicans Eye View, the new and official Pelicans Daily Journal, covering everything Pelicans. Attention, everyone. Get breakdown on games, free agent signings, and potential moves. Unbiased opinions and straight up facts with statistical analysis from G Balance. Go to www.thesportsdaily.com/Pelicans-I-View.
Are you a boxing fan? Check out Ring Kings Boxing only on the PRO Media Network.
Do you need a domain name? How about a host for your website that can work with WordPress? Try Namecheap.com. They make registering, hosting, and managing domain names for yourself or others easy and affordable because the internet needs people. Namecheap is an ICANN accredited domain register and technology company founded in 2000. It's one of the fastest growing American companies according to the 2018 Inc. 5000, celebrating nearly 2 decades of providing unparalleled levels of service, security, and support. Namecheap has been steadfast and
customer satisfaction management. Namecheap is among the top domain registers and web providers in the world. They offer a full selection of popularly featured hosting packages, SSL security certificates, WhoisGuard privacy protections, and more, all at the lowest prices in the industry. So if you need a domain name or hosting or anything else, think Namecheap.com. That's right, Namecheap.com. Check the description section below for link.
There's a lot of reasons to be a fan, but only NBAStore.com has all the gear.
Are you a Pelicans fan? Check out the Pelican postgame report on the PRO Media Network.
You're listening to the Pelicans postgame report on the PRO Media Network for all things Pelicans.
For all things Pelicans, now tuned into the Pelican postgame report on the PRO Media Network. We back, fam. Pelicans, man, they definitely taking their time with this one, man, and I'm not mad at them. Perhaps this time restraint, taking this time has its an idea to look at like Jason Kidd. We talked to Tyronn Lue. The next Will Weaver is another guy. Hadn't seen Mark Jackson. I don't know if Mark Jackson's a serious candidate for the job. We'll see. Perhaps they're waiting for the series to be over with before that happens as well. So we'll follow it, man. But really, Mark Jackson is my call for the obvious reason. And another coach, Will Weaver. I like Will Weaver. I think he can be a real good coach for us. I like his background, where he comes from, and he'll mesh well with the current administration as well, being that they were successful together. So we'll see how that shakes, man, as the Pelicans are going to take their time. Okay, let's move into some Lonzo Ball news here, DC, on the second side of the show. This is coming from Forbes, of all places. Pelicans' next head coach must agree on Lonzo Ball. I see we have to agree on Drew Holiday as well, but this article speaks in particular about Zo Ball and what is his place. And of course, the Pelicans parted ways with Gentry and will be hiring a head coach within the next couple of weeks, according to multiple reports. Tyronn Lue has already flown in to talk with the Pelicans front office, and other candidates have been contacted. Even when the news leaked, VP basketball operations David Griffin stood by his vow to not rush the hiring process. Several candidates still need vetting, and far too many questions about the next season remain. NBA season and the Pelicans roster, while Zion Williamson and Ingram will be the foundational pieces for the Pelicans moving forward, the front office will be pressing the issue on Zo Ball during the interviews with each of the coaching candidates. Ball has played in 63 games for New Orleans. Started 54 of them. Ball City believes the season in the Crescent City was a positive experience, adding he is definitely looking forward to next year. It started off pretty slow, but I think I got into a groove and showed the player I can be before the season stopped. Unfortunately, the bubble didn't go the way we wanted it, but we'll be ready to bounce back next year. We made a lot of growth. And then the question is, will Ball get to grow with his new coaching staff? And the questions go beyond playing style for the front office. Make no mistake about it. Griffin does not want to sell low on Ball, but Ball is likely the player that strayed New Orleans to take the offer from the Lakers instead of dealing Boston to add Anthony Davis. However, Zo Ball recently signed with Clutch Sports and is eligible to sign a huge contract in the offseason. This is a different level of commitment. The Ball and the front office needs to know how the coach will mesh with the core of the team. Any new coach will want to be heard in the front office and in the locker room. Being part of the roster consultation process is a big step to a coach feeling valued by both sides, and the perception of Ball among the coaching candidates is more of a mixed bag than anticipated. With that being said, DC, there's a lot more to read about. With several other candidates, they're saying of Jason Kidd, who they're looking at as well as soon as the season is over with. They're looking at him. There's also rumors circulating around Kenny Atkinson, Jacques Vaughn, to say the least, and many other people, other future candidates that they like as well. Under the radar choices like Jordy Ferdinand, Dan Craig, and we talked about Will Weaver. And it's just a mixed bag. So what do you think about Zo Ball moving forward? Do you see him as a prospect that the team could keep going? Now, that's a big contract extension with Zoe. Just fixed that jump shot last year. That's something that was really strong because he worked with Coach Vincent, and he helped him to fix that broken jump shot for him that he had. He was shooting the ball confident, and he did look good this year. Didn't look too good during the bubble. What's the perception on Zo Ball moving forward with the Pelicans long term?
I think if you want to have success and you want to do it with a young group, I think you keep Lonzo Ball. And the reason I think that, because he has the potential. I'm not saying he is right now. He has the potential to be basically what we see as a dinosaur in the league, which would be a floor general. There ain't many of them no more. He has the potential to be one, but I think that comes along with obviously pairing him with the right coach. So the article is right on time, man. He still has a lot to learn, and he obviously needs a coach that's going to hold him accountable, but at the same time allowing him to make some mistakes and be able to build his confidence through those mistakes. If you can get that chemistry going, then I mean you can have a great point guard, especially for this team, having a guy like Zion who's tailor made for a point guard like Lonzo Ball, and Brandon Ingram is pretty much like people compare him to Kevin Durant because the way he plays, he played with anybody. He put anybody out there, and Brandon Ingram will work. So he don't really matter as far as that. I'm sure the relationship they have, the chemistry they have, obviously helps his games. He knows all of his spots. He takes mental notes of where guys want the ball, how they want it. You know what I'm saying? He's a true point guard. In today's game, especially if you're going to have a free-flowing team, or whether you running an actual offensive set in the half court, which actually he doesn't excel at right now, that type of point guard is what you want. Or at least if you don't have that type of point guard, you want a player that can do that. So we don't have any other player on the roster currently that will be able to do that. So I think it only makes sense that you hold on to this guy. And if he can actually hit close to his ceiling of what we saw him play last year, where he's shooting a 3-ball at 40% and just improve his mid-range game and make layups with contact. I know that's a lot, but I don't think those things are so far off from him. He's already made, like, in the article, they told you he made his last 57 free throws. He made 32 of them. All right, that ain't exactly talking about coming from a guy that was shooting 40% on free throws. The last 57 he took, he made 32 of them. So it's obviously improvement. He seems to be hungry. He seems to be one. And when you look at his Twitter, his little stories and stuff, he's always working. So I think he's going to get there. And if we do wind up getting rid of him, I think eventually Lonzo Ball will turn into a player like, damn, I can't believe all those teams passed on him. Similar to Steve Nash. What are some other guys, Q? It just took him a while to get it. Kyle Lowry was another guy that passed around the league. Yeah, I know you don't like him very much, but it's still some guys, man. They need development, and they just need to be put in the right situation with the right coach. And I think that's the type of player he is.
Yeah, late development is definitely a part of it. But the thing is, do you pay him the big money now? Even though, do you pay for potential? That's the question that most people are they comfortable with doing that with Zo Ball. Do you pay for his potential because the money is going to come first before any All-Star appearances, if there are any All-Star appearances. If you counting on him to be that kind of point guard, we know when focused and determined, the kid could be a really good defensive player. We know he can direct the floor. He has pretty good vision. We know that he's worked on his three-point shooting. Those are all really great positives, and he fits really well with Zion Williamson and Brandon Ingram in the fold. So I mean,
here go the negatives. Go ahead and rattle off the negatives, Big Q.
No, it's no, that's no negatives. But the thing is, do you pay for, that potential going forward? Because you're going to address the contract's coming soon before he can put whatever product that you see for him on the floor later. So the money first, and after that, and do you want to commit that amount of money to Zo Ball before actually seeing that potential develop? That's the thing.
I say, you don't pay for the potential, but what you do is you give him a raise, but you structure the contract in a way where it will benefit you, like maybe a 3-year deal. Like, all right, we'll pay you this money for a year or two, and then you have a team option or something on him to where, like, I'm not just about to give you the bag and hope you do what you do. Like, show us what you is. Obviously, we gave you the money. So if you keep on working, it's here for you. We give you that full 5-year contract. But I'm not about to give you the bag and especially if we're gonna keep Drew, and we don't know what his contract situation is. All of this, they got to have some freedom. And if Lonzo Ball wants to be here, he got to understand that. He got to understand that he played like absolute dookie in the bubble. You know, his bubble was bursted. So I mean, he would have to have some leeway to be able to willing to structure some type of contract like that. Because let's be honest, man, if we let you go and hit the open market, who giving Lonzo Ball $100 million contract?
I don't know.
I'm sure some team was
They got
signing,
one or
but
two stupid
I heard,
teams that'll do it.
I don't think they got nobody that give him $100 million contract. Like, I think somebody at the most they'll
They got
probably give him
desperate teams out
what he
there.
making. Who? Name one.
I mean, you look at. I mean, take your pick. I mean, look at the Pacers. I mean, they got some teams out there that are.
The Pacers are not. They're a pretty savvy organization.
Well,
BQ.
listen. So they got teams. They got organizations
They got Malcolm
that are
Brogdon.
desperate.
Why would they give him $100 million?
I mean, you can move Brogdon to off guard. You can play him at 2. Brogdon can play. He can direct the ball for you, or he can play off ball. That's the beauty of what Brogdon brings. But I'm saying is that they have other organizations that can't attract free agents, so they have to tend to overpay, much like your Pelicans used to be under Dale Demps. But before we move forward on that point, let me give a shout out to the rest of the family members joining the live stream. Todd Redu, who that to you? I mean, big ups to you as well. DJ Austin, big ups to you as well. Brian, Kevin, Jasper, Teal, and the rest of the family members, thank y'all for joining us. Please excuse our internet connection right now. It's currently a storm going on. Outside is affecting the signal. That's why we can't take calls. I see you, DJ. DJ wants to know if we're going to take calls tonight. I'm sorry. The internet's too bad to take calls for tonight, DJ. So I'm sorry
man,
for
DJ
that.
Clip be loaded, man. DJ be ready, boy.
Yeah, no, I feel bad about it, but the signal's too bad to take calls tonight. It'll just drop them. It'll keep just dropping them off. So I appreciate the family members for joining us as we keep moving through the show. All right, DC, let's move on to our next topic, my man. We're going to talk about Alvin Gentry and his landing spot. Of course, there were we talked about this on the last show. There were 2 possible openings for Gentry as an assistant coach, and one of them was with Doc Rivers as well, in to be his lead assistant with the Philadelphia 76ers. And then the other one was Luke Walton out in Sacramento town, Sacktown, to be his lead assistant. So Gentry had a decision to make, and I told you which one he was going to take. He was going to take the job in Sacramento because he knows that Luke Walton will be apt to get fired before Doc Rivers would, because Doc Rivers is going to get there and ball. Luke Walton he'll fail, which means Alvin Gentry will have a chance to sneak his old tail back into the NBA as a coach, even as an interim. So, I mean, this was a pretty crafty, sneaky move by Alvin Gentry, but he's back in the lead in the NFL, the NBA as a lead assistant. What you think about Gentry sneaking this, and he's back with the Kings as their top assistant?
I think it's funny, man. I mean, you called it. I'm not going to say we because I didn't call that. Obviously, I agreed, and it's very obvious. I was thinking the same way. But Alvin Gentry, it's just funny, man. And the Kings, the poor Kings, bro. I guess, you know, when you try to do things your way and it just ain't working out, you just try anything, bro. Just throw stuff on the wall and see what sticks. So obviously he's there to put some heat on Luke Walton. They're similar. Their systems to me aren't even similar.
No,
so I don't know how that's gonna work.
Right.
So, but let's give Al Gentry a little credit, man. The man is a great offensive mind. So maybe he can help Luke. Maybe he can help Luke offensively, and Luke can help him defensively. If we can keep Alvin Gentry off the Heavenly Hill. But you know, obviously he's there just in case Luke Walton get fired, so he can be a head coach again. Because nobody else around the league at this time. If I was Alvin Gentry, a wise man would have took the job with Doc Rivers. That would have been
that's job security. That's job security. You take the lead assistant job with Doc Rivers. That's what a smart man would do, as you say. But Alvin Gentry, the slithery old veteran, wants to climb back in the league in some capacity. He's not done yet. After 30-something odd years in the league, I've never been a part of a bad win. But anyway, that's one of Gentry's parting knowledgeable things that I got from him after 4 or 5 years.
That was his motto, Big Q. I've never seen a bad win. So I take it.
30-odd years. You ain't put the rest of it on that, DC. In 30 years of being in the NBA, I've never been a part of a bad win. That's all I learned from Alvin Gentry. I'm just keeping it real. Big ups to a Young City in there as well. Young City Night War, big ups to you. No, you experienced the word dumpster fire. More importantly.
I didn't know what a dumpster fire was until we had Alvin Gentry here.
Right. It's just Thunderbird and the dumpster lit up. All right, let's big ups to Young City Night War for joining live stream. I see you, fam. Big up to you. Like I said, I apologize to the family members tonight for a poor internet signal. We have bad weather right now. It's affecting the signal. That's why we can't take calls. Usually we'll take calls tonight. I have to apologize to our family members out there for listening to the show. We got one more item of news. If you have any questions, please feel free to put the questions in the chat. And me or DC will chime in if you have any questions pertaining to the Pelicans. Please place them in the chat. Being that we can't open up the phone lines tonight, and we'll get to your questions. So let's keep it going, DC. We have one final story to cover for tonight's episode, and that's the Pelicans. Drew Holiday named to the Tymon Stokes Teammate of the Year. He was given that award, and it was named the 2019-2020 Tymon Stokes Teammate of the Year on Tuesday, as the NBA announced. That award recognizes the player deemed the best teammate based on selfless play, on and off the court leadership as a mentor and role model to other NBA players, and commitment and dedication to a team. Holiday received 53 of the possible 267 first place votes from other NBA players, beating out Philadelphia 76ers forward Tobias Harris, Milwaukee Bucks guard Kyle Korver. In a video posted to the team's Twitter account, Holiday thanked his teammates and the NBA and the Pelicans. He said, "Thank you guys so much for this award, for awarding me with the Tymon Stokes Teammate Award. I'm incredibly honored and also incredibly humbled to be a part of a list of greats in this league who have done so many things to mold my game, even on and off the court. I want to thank the NBA and I want to thank the Pelicans. But most of all, I want to thank my teammates. Without you guys, I wouldn't have gotten this award. Thank you guys. God bless. I would have thanked my Pelicans player. Just me. I would have thanked the Pelicans first, then the NBA did last. What the hell they did. But anyway, but that's Drew Holiday. He gave a shout out to him. Him and his wife was online. They're both former gold medalists for the United States national soccer team. They announced in July that Holiday's game checks for the remainder of the 2019-2020 NBA season will be donated to Drew and Lawrence Holiday's Social Justice Impact Fund, which is designed to aid communities in New Orleans, Indianapolis, and in the Los Angeles area. Most of the money will be dedicated to nonprofits, Black-owned businesses, citywide initiatives that seek to bring about equitable outcomes for the Black community and communities of people in color in New Orleans. Up to 1.5 million. Los Angeles and Compton got up to 1.5, and Indianapolis got $1 million. Another $1 million will go to Black-owned businesses in more than 10 other cities across the country, while $500,000 is committed to institutions of higher learning, including historically Black colleges and universities. Holiday averaged 19 points a game with 7 assists and 5 rebounds. And he says there isn't more of a deserving player. This is David Griffin, nor one that better embodies what the award signifies on and off the court than Drew Holiday. And it most certainly, we know for the most certain that David Griffin will never get this honor. We most certainly know that because he is not a team guy. He constantly runs over his own general manager. So Drew Holiday, it's quite ironic that he's saying this, but you can see these are hollow words from David Griffin. Drew Holiday is concerned for and in connection to his community is the heart of everything we want this organization to represent. The work that he and his wife have done locally in New Orleans as well as in Southern California and Indiana cannot go unnoticed, and his willingness to donate his full remaining salary following the restart of the 2019-20 season is the ongoing fight for social justice further demonstrates what type of human being Drew is. We are honored and grateful that Drew is a part of our Pelicans family. That's why we're taking phone calls to ultimately see if we can get a deal to get him up out of here. So that's pretty much that. Of course, he stopped that Pelicans family. I of course astutely added the rest of that on there. He wins we'll see if the Tymon, what is it called? The Tymon Stokes Award is enough to keep Drew Holiday on the team. What you think? What do you think, DC?
As you eloquently put it at the end of your sentiments, that's what I think. Like, this is very ironic in the timing of this. I ain't never heard so many goddamn trade rumors about a player, and then they come out and the man get an award for being the best teammate in the whole NBA. The irony of that shit, like, that is crazy. So he's actively being shopped on the market. He's a past all-star. He give you 20 points a game, best defensive player in the league, but we trying to trade him.
Like, there you go.
What the fuck is going on, bro? if that don't make your head spin, you just not paying attention. Like it's crazy. And then all the people that voted on this are the players in the NBA. Vote somebody as the best teammate in the NBA. You know what that means? That means everybody in the NBA won't play with Drew Holiday. That's what that means. So if we got all these players wanting to play with him, but yet we're in an organization, and it appears, at least from the rumors, because according to two-forked tongue Mr. Griffin over there, Drew Holiday is not up for trade, even though we took phone calls from him. Everybody, all these rumors, some of them got to be true. But supposedly, he's not going anywhere. Drew Holiday says he wants to be here forever and all of this. He's the best teammate in the league. So at this point, Q, I'm just confused. And I wonder how we keep having all this if we got the best teammate in the whole NBA, man.
It sounds like a bunch of bunk to me, man. Not that Drew Holiday is a good guy. We know Drew's a good dude, man. Drew's always been a good dude, man.
In your opinion, my brother, what is the big deal with like us having this obsession? Even some Pelicans fans wanting to get rid of Drew Holiday. I never really understood it. I know I talk to Fred stuff. Is that all?
It's the money, DC, and
he's
the
not
fact that
making a lot of money for what he gives you.
Well, I mean that might be the case, but the reality is he's your most tradable piece, and right. They have to look at him. It's not his personality what he given, but you don't trade a piece on this team moving forward that they will want to be able to, if they can build around. And that's the thing that seems of importance. Like if Drew Holiday, it's a lot of decisions of where we go. The call has to be made on Lonzo Ball. Does he stay, or do you go and draft the guy in the draft and then build with that young guy with the rest of our young guys? If you don't say, okay, we like Lonzo Ball, but Lonzo Ball is not the guy. We want to get another guy because we don't want to pay him that much money. It all comes down to money and how they can fit these pieces with BI because they got to max out on BI. That's a chunk of change. Or you feel comfortable giving Zoe Ball a big fat contract, and then you got Drew Holiday sitting there, and Drew Holiday currently makes $23 million a year. I want to say, hold on, let me pull it up here. I'm gonna pull the numbers up. Drew Holiday 5-year deal he signed when Dumbass was in here. But the reality at the end of the day is that's what it's coming from. Drew Holiday's purse, he's a great dude. But the issue is, are the Pelicans willing to pay the rest of his contract? And remember, we're in 2020 going into 2021. He's 30 years old. He has 1 year left on his current agreement. He's at the back end of the 5-year, $131.8 million contract that he signed under Dale Demps. And currently he's making $26.3 million, 26.1. I mean, actually it's 25.3 million this year. It jumps to 26.2 in 2021, 2022. Then he's unrestricted in 2022. So you have 1 year left on Drew Holiday's deal. So that's why there's trade rumors circulating around Drew Holiday, is because the Pelicans are, if you read the tea leaves, I'm a big tea leaf guy. Read the tea leaves.
You make a lot of tea with all them leaves. Bro.
Oh yeah, bro. That's what I do. I mean, I get it from the tea box and I make it all. But the reality is, that's what I'm saying. If you're looking at the tea leaves said that the Pelicans, they like Drew Holiday, but at that price, 20, and then you can see if we can get some younger pieces to help us make that jump quicker. That's why there's a lot of smoke around the Brooklyn Nets deal. Do they cave in and give you Jared Allen? Well, the ultimate trade would for the Pelicans be maybe another pick, and then of course Karis LeVert along with Jared Allen. I think they take that pick. I'm just gonna be honest with you. If they get Jared Allen, who comes in and start automatically at the center position, you can get Karis LeVert that comes in, that he can come in automatically at the 2-guard position. And then you can either do what you're gonna do with Zobal or draft somebody in the draft.
You need a 3-and-D guy now. If you're gonna take on Karis LeVert, you got to replace that defensive wing potential from Drew Holiday.
Well, listen, Karis LeVert
ain't getting that to you yet.
Well, listen,
Karis LeVert is a decent defender.
That's what I'm about to try to tell you.
No Drew Holiday though.
Well, that's why you trade him. I mean, his value is he's an excellent 2-way player. But the issue is you're not going to pay 26. You're not going to paid 25 or 26 million in 2021-22 in his final season. You're not going to do that. That's why there are the phone calls and the smoke around Drew Holiday, because the Brooklyn Nets want him. And if you want Drew Holiday, you give him Jared Allen and Karis LeVert, because that's the two pieces they really want. And then maybe another pick in there, and I think they pulled the horn up. They pulled the trigger on that deal. I'm keeping it real with you. They're not going to pay him $26 million in the next year. That's why there's smoke around this guy.
I agree with if they give him Karis LeVert and Jared Allen, that they pull the trigger. But my problem with that is what we have in a potential phenom in Zion Williamson and what you're trying to do, whether you want to keep this guy long term and what type of image do you want to portray to him of the organization of the NBA. You have a guy who's here, gave everything he had. He committed to being all hands on. Man, donated his damn paycheck. That last in this paycheck for social injustice and all this stuff, building up the community, does all of that.
And get you traded.
And you trade him.
Yeah, that's right.
What does that tell a 20-year-old Zion Williamson who's just experienced in the NBA, who said he wants to be with one team for the duration of his career? Does that not change that thought process for him?
Absolutely not.
Why not?
Because Zion Williamson is a youngster who's looking at the future. His vantage point is not that of a savvy veteran like Drew Holiday. He knows that he's the future of the team, him and Brandon Ingram, the all-star, and they'll give them the opportunity to guide the team moving forward. Now, Drew Holiday is part of the old guard, and that's why they consider him moving past him and building his team around B.I. and Zion Williamson, which is not a bad mold. The true part of the test is finding the correct coach, the institute the right form or the right, the right scheme with this team. What type of identity do you want to have? That depends on what kind of coach you have. You have a disciplinarian coach who's smart schematically, offensive, body knows who can make a name for himself, or Jason Kidd, who comes in with all of the lights looking, comes in with the pressure of performing instantaneously. It's so many different things that the team has to look at. And if they take a low hiring coach, that sets my mentality on, okay, well, I see what they're trying to do. They're looking to build this team over a period of years. And even though they miss out this year on the playoffs, I think the next coach they have, they're going to get a real good coach, whether it's Will Weaver or Jason Kidd or Mark Jackson. They're going to get a good X and O coach that's good on both sides of the ball. He'll build a pretty good staff as well. So I think the Pelicans are definitely a young team built around Zion. And I seen the article that you sent me from the Zion Williamson's in Men's Health, I think it was. The pictures of him in Men's Health. You sent me that, and I'm looking at pictures of Zion Williamson. I want everybody else. Maybe they
looks amazing, bro.
Yeah, he looks real slim in these articles from Men's Health magazine. So if y'all want to see what Zoe Williamson looks like, feel free to check out
Zion, my brother.
Zion Williamson. You can say Zoe. God damn it, his name Star, but you can say Zoe Williamson too.
Zoe Ball. You can't be confusing the people like that, Big Q.
One Zoe Ball, one Zion Williamson. Okay. I'll stick to Zion. All right. Okay, Zion Williamson. All right, you can go and look at the Men's Health magazine. They have several articles on there that's showing Zion looks really a fit, and if he can keep that weight down, it can really help him out. But Brandon Ingram,
I want to point something out before we move on from that, to just show you how phony and fake this goddamn media is. The boy was out of weight. You couldn't go nowhere, man. I couldn't look in my rearview mirror to switch lanes without hearing about Zion Williamson being overweight. Now he in shape. Look amazing.
No stories on it.
Crickets. I didn't even know the story was put out, y'all. I'm just finding out that they had a men's health issue with him on the cover, in shape. That's how much light they put on that to promote that out there. So it don't fit the narrative, I guess, to get all the clicks they want, maybe. I don't know. But I just thought that was very ironic that he looks better than he did the first time we saw the Zayn Mass BS. He looked better than that. No stories on it.
Right. You're right. It's absolutely true. But there should be some stories coming out real soon. You know, some of them are slow to.
This article been out since September 9th, my brother.
Okay, well, I guess there won't be too many stories on it if it's been that long. A lot of them don't really want to hear about it. That's not newsworthy to know that he's slim now after the playoffs is over with. More of an article doing it. But you're right. If you report that the kid is chunky, you got to then say that he's not chunky anymore or whatever. But anyway, let's move into the chat section of it, family. We're going to answer questions from the chat. All right, let's see if any what happened in the chat. Jasper, big ups to Jasper, says, Big Q, you and DC need to apply for the job. I'd rather have y'all.
Oh, bro.
Oh, they're pretty
We
fine.
gladly accept, bro, but I don't know if they want us up there. We're going to be telling too much real, man. We might have to bring some boxing gloves, Big Q.
Oh, yeah. You know, I like the box, too. So we're going to have to test some ass. Brian says, when can Tyronn Lue he says, we can, Tyronn Lue. We will never go to a championship. So you don't like Tyronn Lue there. Todd says, has anyone mentioned trading Lonzo yet? Pelicans need a new point guard. What do you think about that, DC? All right, hold on. DC dropped out. The signal dropped out. Hold on here. Let me see if we can get him back here. All right,
I'm
DC,
here.
welcome back. All right, okay. All right, now Todd's comment. Todd says, we did mention the trade rumors. Did we mention the trade rumors around Lonzo Ball? I know we mentioned whether we want him
No,
or not.
I mean, we talked about him on some other episodes when that was a thing, but there ain't really a lot of trade rumor talk around Lonzo Ball. I don't think we trading Lonzo Ball. Either we don't have a value that we would want for him, or we just decided to not go with it because of, I would say, potentially the chemistry him and Zion got would definitely keep him here for for him to give him another shot.
All right, well, let's move on to the next question. Family man was dropped in the chat before we end the stream. DJ, let's see what DJ got here. Let's see. Todd says Will Weaver would be a good hire. DJ says, so do we cut loose on the roster? I guess he says, so who do we cut loose on the roster, DC? What's your thought on that?
It depends on which direction we're going. We all know Etwan Moore is gone. So if we're going with the ideology that you stated earlier with the new regime, we trade Drew Holiday. We got to get rid of JJ Redick because JJ Redick came here to play with Drew Holiday. Etwan Moore is gone. Darius Miller is gone. Kendrick Williams, got to get rid of him. Everybody who's along the Drew Holiday train is gone.
Jahlil Okafor,
gone. You just clean house. Frank Jackson, you might even let him go. That's the one I probably would keep if we go with the ideology that you were stating earlier, and we trade Drew Holiday. Other than that, just the regular team, Drew Holiday stays. I say you get rid of Darius Miller, you get rid of Etwan Moore, and you use those two spots. Maybe bring Didi Lazova over, depending on who you draft or what other type of trade moves you can try and make. And if you bring Derek Favors back, so you got 3 spots to get you some pretty good players, man, and you can put them in the mesh of everything else you got.
Yeah, that's a lot of people. You're pretty much reshaping them what the bench looks like, and I say right on.
We need to do that.
Right,
I would
right
like
on.
to keep Jahlil Okafor though. I think we should keep him because I think we get him for cheap, and what he provides under a really good coach, man. Jahlil Okafor could be Montez Harrell. Under the right coach.
Under the right coach, you can, because he did show the willingness to rebound and play defense when you give him the minutes. So, I mean, if we can get the right coach to inspire him to be able to put him, like you said, I think that'll be a good thing. But you got to give Jahlil Okafor the minutes to play. And I think you can get him for cheap. He's a legitimate 7-foot center. He has an offensive game to him as well. And when like I said, and if defensively motivated, he could be a force. And I do like Jahlil Okafor, and I do believe we can get him cheap. But looking at the Pelicans bench, I agree with you. A lot of those players need to be gotten rid of. And then we can maybe add another veteran guy, maybe perhaps another veteran point well and direct the second unit. That'd be interesting to see what happens there. But like I said, it's hard to say, man, because you can look at what they need, but I'm still waiting to see what kind of style of coach we're going to get, because that's going to say a lot about what the team is supposed to look like. You know, we get a half-court coach, or perhaps a coach that likes to run similarly to Alvin Gentry, but with more discipline. So, I mean, it's hard to see because you want to see what kind of style of coach that we want. And if you're looking at Tyronn Lue, if you're looking at Will Weaver, and you're looking at several other, these guys' styles are not the same. Most of these guys kind of teeter toward defensive first. You know, closer to the Monty Williams school of thought. Is like our defense drives our offense. The Pelicans offensively can score with the best of them, man. They just talented offensively, but defensive was where the Pelicans tend to struggle on. They don't, they're as good as Jrue Holiday's two-way defense is. Ingram as good as he is on defense, good as Ball is, Josh Hart, and the rest of these guys on defense. DC, they still struggled mightily in Alvin Gentry's wishy-wash Thunderbird, Heavenly Hill type of offense.
It was the lineups, Big Q. We all know what it was, man. I mean, he was playing guys together that he shouldn't have been. He had guys playing out of position because they were exceptional, like a Josh Hart. What the hell Josh Hart playing power forward for, man? I know we talked about it, and I was like, oh, he was exceptional. I read the articles.
Same man that played each one more full season.
That man should have never been playing power forward, man.
But that's coming from the same. That's true, and that's coming from the same man that played Etuan Moore at small forward the entire season.
Right. So you have, but we had a jacked up roster too, where guys had to play out of position. I mean, we had like 7 or 8 guards. The hell we got that many guards for? I mean, you only need about 6 at the most. You know what I'm saying? So we've cleared that roster up, man. You get a coach in there who not drawing up X's and O's on a Friday night after he's been taking shots. Yeah, so
we josking about it, but listen, let me tell you something, man. But if you know, you know, and we know. I know what it looked like. So the hell with the rest of them saying. But anyway, let's keep it going here. DJ says let Gentry give out tickets or give away. He's trying to sneak back in as an head coach. He thinks that if Walton don't make it, he'll have an easier shot. That's pretty slick of Gentry to do, but we called it. DJ says due to the finals being this week and due to the fact that we don't have a coach who will be getting we be getting in the draft on the 18th of this month. Who do you think, DC?
I think
hold on. Let me add this to it before you answered it. If we do draft a guard, what do we do with Frank Jackson or Josh Hart? Add that to your reply.
Well, firstly, I'll give you the hypothetical and say my reply on that. But I don't think we draft a guard. I think we get Sadiq Bey if he's still available. I think that's the guy they would take. He screams like a Pelican draft pick to me. He would be the draft pick, like getting a Buddy Hill pick right. Instead of taking Buddy Hill at 6, if we could have got Buddy Hill at 13, that would have been an amazing pick. This guy is kind of similar to that a little bit.
If we'd have took Jamal Murray with the pick as opposed to Buddy Hill, that would have been amazing.
We took Jamal Murray. AD would still be here. You would have had Jamal Murray, Jrue Holiday. You definitely would have kept Rondo off the bench. And you would have AD and possibly still DeMarcus Cousins. I don't know what he would have done with.
Wow. Some alternate reality.
All them guys would have stayed, man, if you had Jamal Murray. Because he would have had to get buckets like how he getting on Denver over here, because we would have thrown him in the frying pan. So, pressure gonna bust pipes or make diamonds. He would have turned into a diamond a lot earlier with all that freedom, especially under Alvin. You can't take no bad shots. So, woulda, coulda, shouldas. Right. But in the hypothetical scenario that we draft for point guard, you said, what do I do with Josh Hart and what was the other player?
Frank Jackson.
Oh, that's simple, man. I mean, if we draft a point guard, they're not going to re-sign Frank Jackson. And if they decide to do that and they don't re-sign Frank Jackson, I think that lever is also leaning to the area of getting rid of Jrue Holiday, because Jrue Holiday and Frank Jackson are very tight. As well as Okafor. A lot of people don't know, but he trains those guys in the offseason. And their game stepping up the way it did, I'm pretty sure it had a lot to do with training from Jrue Holiday. So if you get rid of 2 of his guys, because that's probably what's going to happen, especially if they draft a point guard, how does that look or make him feel?
Right.
So I think that chain reaction starts another set of dominoes of us possibly getting rid of Jrue at the trade deadline or before it.
Yeah, that's interesting, man. Because that's the talk of Josh Hart. I would love to have Josh Hart. I don't know if his contract isn't up. Is his contract
not getting rid of Josh. Him and Lonzo Ball up at the same time. They're not getting rid of Josh Hart because Josh Hart constantly says he wants to be here. And he's young.
I don't think you give up Josh. Right, I wouldn't give up Josh Hart. The way
Josh
he plays,
Hart might be the replacement for Jrue Holiday. We know.
And I would not have an issue with that at all, because he'll bring the same into. He's not as great as a defender or Drew Holiday. That takes time, but he's a guy.
Excellent rebounder.
He's a grunge work guy. He's like Tony Allen, Ultra Instinct. He gets grungy with you. He can hit the 3-point shot if you need him to hit it, and he can, he'll guard anybody. I love that. He dives on the floor, and he brings that intensity to the
I
start.
like how he gets to the bucket too, man.
Yeah, he ain't afraid.
Contact. He'll go to the bucket on 3 guys and make it. You know what I'm saying? Take contact, get an and one. Josh Hart got a lot of levels to his game, man. I think he can be real special if he continues to develop. So I don't know what we're gonna do with Drew, or if Drew stays. If he does, I still think Josh Hart can work with all of that, especially off the bench. He can be our 6th man. But we got to figure something out with this guard rotation either way. We got really exceptional guards, man. I mean, we was talking about Josh Hart and fitting him in with Drew, and then you got Lonzo Ball. Then you still got to make room for JJ Redick.
And NAW.
He's a hell of a shooter. Then you got NAW. And Frank Jackson is good, y'all. He just –
I think he's going to be the odd man out DC. I'm about to tell you. I think Frankie Jackson is going to be out the door, man. I'm going to be honest with you. And it depends on who they draft to, looking in the draft and how they draft. Sadiq Bey is not a bad pick. I mean,
we don't have that forward, Big Q.
Yeah.
Kendrick Williams was trying to make him that, and on the defensive end, he is that. Man, he can't. He gives you nothing on the offensive end. So you got a guy like Sadiq Bey who can do what Kendrick Williams does, but also gives you some offense.
He give you the offense. That's right.
Brandon Ingram get some Gatorade, bro.
And Sadiq Bey is good size too. What is he? 6'9"?
He's 6'8", man.
6'8". Okay. That's the kid from Vanderbilt, correct?
I like your guy too, Obi Toppin. I like him a lot, man. The more I've been watching on him, bro, I know what they talk about his downsides, but even all the weaknesses they say they have, if you watch him on tape, I'm like, man, that dude could correct that.
He patterns his game after Anthony Davis. He don't have right.
But he's a very exceptional player.
Right. But see, as I was hoping that nobody recognized Obi Toppin, but now he's moving up. He's sneaking up into top 10 status. And I've seen some draft pools have him as high as the top 5.
I take him. I think that he's not gonna get past New York. New York gonna take him.
I don't think New York. I don't know what they're gonna do in terms of that, but I've heard rumors dealing with them.
They need everything.
Good grief. Boy, it stink to be a Knicks fan. Let's get off of that subject. Might depress us. All right, we have one more. Let's see. Okay, we have one more question here from DJ. Of course, DJ saying, "Do you bring back either Tony Carr or Didi Louzada?" I don't think we own the rights to Tony Carr anymore.
Tony Carr out of here, man. That's over with. That's a Dell Demps experiment. That ain't happening. Didi over there with our potential new coach. I mean, that's a self-explanatory question. We know who they're bringing back if they're gonna bring one of them back this year.
Yeah, like I said, I don't think we own the rights to Tony Carr anymore.
They went with Dell Demps.
Yeah, he did take him and Dell Demps.
Yeah, in his pocket on the way out.
Yeah, I don't think we still got. I mean, he's not a guy that the Pelicans are interested in. Like you said, Didi Louzada was a guy that was raw last year, and he's getting. It's weird to me. That's what I'm saying. If you look at the relationships of Will Weaver, and then you have Didi Louzada, who's over there in Australia with Will Weaver. So if they do say, okay, Will, we want you, you could very well they can bring Didi Louzada, who has familiarity with Will Weaver's system in Australia, right to the Pelicans. Matter of fact, he might have a leg up on a lot of the Pelicans because he knows what to expect in Will Weaver's system. So this is an interesting deal. And plus, don't forget that Will Weaver's connection to GM Tranger Langdon. Go ahead, DC.
And he's a lot like the guy we was just giving a lot of compliments to, Josh Hart. He is a dirty work type player, man, and you always need guys like that. When you got a team with talent and you got guys who put the ball in the basket, that's what you surround them with. Dudes who willing to do the dirty work and go in there and fight, make it happen by any means necessary. And Didi Louzada, from everything I look at from him, he's that type of player, man. He got heart, and he gonna do whatever he could do to help the team win, and I like that about him. So, Tony Carr, if we did have the rights to him, I don't think you get that up because Tony Carr wasn't that type of player. He don't have that type of intensity.
No, he doesn't, bro. His offensive game was lacking. He had size. He was a big guard that handled the ball, but he was almost, his speed level is almost like what Steve Smith is. He like a big point guard handling the ball, but he's like Steve Smith. You know, he can't, I mean, he was okay defensively, but he was lacking a lot. Actually, he was lacking a lot on both sides, and I think they've seen the fact that he was a big guard who can shoot it a bit, but the Pelicans are turned away from him. I mean, this is a whole nother administration, and I don't think Tony Carr is a guy that they're even looking at anymore. I know Will Weaver, if he comes, he brings Didi Louzada. There's too many connecting lines that's pinning Will Weaver to this, and that's what the Pelicans going to interview. DC, I would say at least 2 or 3 other coaches. Think about it, how many coaches they could have been interviewing right now. But they have one coach they interviewed since they fired Alvin Gentry, and that was Tyronn Lue. One coach. I mean, there were many other coaches. You could have talked to Mark Jackson. You could have talked to his broadcast buddy. You could have went and talked to coaches like Sam Cassell with the Clippers, who've been bounced out of the playoffs. You could have went and talked to Boston Celtics assistant coaches under Brad Stevens. You could have went and talked to whomever. You know, you could have talked to the Dallas coach already, the assistant coach, Jamal Mosley. You could have talked to these guys already, and they didn't. You know, so that means they're going to take their time because they got a small list of people they're looking at.
They're waiting on Jason Kidd,
and
man.
Jason Kidd. There you go. And and let's see what the score is right now with the Lakers.
No, I don't want to know. I want to watch it. I don't want to know.
DC, it's looking. I ain't gonna spoil it for you, but oh man,
you just did. I know you, bro. You done already spoiled it. You might as well say this is going now.
It's 106 to 105 with less than 47 seconds in the fourth quarter.
Wow,
that's right. Wow. Lakers up. So it could be
wow.
happening real soon that after they finish, and we could be talking to Jason Kidd next week. But you know, Jason's gonna want money. And what if do the Lakers after they win a championship? Let me ask you, DC. Do they let the Pelicans talk to Jason Kidd, or do they, or because they can? I guess you can say no, we don't want you, because they really want Kidd as the future head coach.
Hold up. We gave y'all the players, so y'all made it to the goddamn championship. If they don't want to let us talk to Jason Kidd, the whole Pelicans nation need to get on the plane. We need to go tear their shit up and take their trophy and everything. We gave y'all the leeway to do what y'all doing, and we can't interview the guy that's next to the guy. Y'all just won the championship with Frank Vogel, bro.
Well,
y'all gonna fire the man for winning the championship?
Well, you never know. They trade players. They get teammate of the year award. So I mean, why not? I mean, they fire coaches the next year who won the coach of the year. So I mean, why not?
Jason Kidd, I think, is a lot smarter than Tyronn Lue. He ain't gonna command no goddamn $7 million. Tyronn Lue, if you watching, that could have been you, possibly about to win a championship right now.
That's true.
He wanted what did he asking people for? Some crazy $15 million or something crazy?
No, he said he want annually over $7 million a year.
Man, Tyronn don't get in there and get that $6 million or $5 million they was gonna give you, go win you another championship, bro. What the hell wrong with you?
Tyronn Lue's going back to my call. He interviewed with Houston. He interviewed with the Pelicans. He's gonna go back to Los Angeles. He want to interview with the Clippers. It's an easy call if you're Steve Ballmer. You keep them pretty much the assistants together. Same similar style. Tyronn Lue right there. The familiarity that Leonard and George have with Tyronn Lue. This is an easy call.
You can't sleep on Sam Cassell, Big Q. They also got a lot of smoke over there with this whole Phil Jackson nonsense. Is starting to get some wings and take off. They're saying those people are seriously trying to get Phil Jackson out of retirement.
Oh, you
and get him over there to the Clippers to coach him, man. He gonna bring his little stool and everything, and the Zen, and they're gonna be doing yoga. Clippers to coach him, man. He gonna bring his little stool and everything, and the Zen, and they're gonna be doing yoga. Trying to get him over there, bro. He gonna have his sage.
Nobody want Phil Jackson to be the coach, even Phil Jackson. he's done, burnt, cooked, barbecue chicken, seafood city.
Phil look healthy, man. Phil been chilling out there fishing, man. He still be.
And watch how terrible he look. He'd be propped up there like a prop sitting on the seat right there. He can't stand up. Got to have guys to lift him up off the chair. He
still be sending tweets to his baby Jenny Buss over there. I'm sure he might want to rub her nose.
You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? But anyway, let's keep it going, man. Last question here from DJ. Well, actually from Brian. Big ups to Brian. He says, what about Jerry West as the Pelicans coach or Larry Brown. How about those two, D?
That's very interesting. The Jerry West one, it's like I'm logging in my mind like, damn, when the last time did Jerry West coach? But Larry Brown, I like Larry Brown. I think he's a Hall of Fame coach. I think he's a great coach. But the league win right now, is Larry Brown really built for this era? Can he transition? Larry Brown his teams would muck it up and they would play hard-nosed defense. It's like they almost
Detroit
saved
Pistons.
all their energy for defense. I mean, even if you watch the 76ers, not just the Detroit Pistons, I loved it. So I had a front seat for that whole era. And that was AI was the offense. Everything else that Larry Brown did, he implemented a hell of a defensive scheme over there, man, and kept teams low scoring. And they let AI do his thing and just unleashed him.
That's the issue with Larry Brown's system, though. DC.
He don't have no offense in
there
the
you
system,
go,
bro.
and that's the issue.
All defense.
Right. It's defense predicated off of the defense sparks the offense in Larry Brown's system, similar to what Amani Williams' system.
You need a Hall of Fame player or at least a all NBA player already
that can get it
that
scoring.
kind of knows how to conduct the offense on their own. Like if Larry Brown had Chris Paul or some shit like that, he'll make it work, bro. He'll make it work. But with our team, I don't know, man. I don't know.
I think Jerry West does not.
I don't know. I don't know enough
Jerry
about
West
Jerry West's coaching style to even say that. I don't remember who he coached for. I don't remember the last time I seen Jerry West as a coach.
This was years ago. He was coaching, but recently he's been mostly a general manager or manager, and he's also acted as an advisor. So I think he's an advisor with the Clippers right now, if I'm not mistaken. So
he's their general manager now because Doc Rivers was relieved of the duties. Didn't Doc Rivers have power over there?
That happened before. That happened. I think last year.
They bumped him down.
Yeah, they bumped him. They bumped him down. Yeah, but I think Jerry Brown. Larry Brown would definitely take the job, but I don't think they reach that far back to go and get him.
Why jump over Mark Jackson to go to Larry Brown?
I don't know. I wouldn't do that.
I take the other Van Gundy before Larry Brown. What was his name? The one from Orlando.
Stan.
That's Stan.
Stan from Orlando, the heavyset fella.
Yeah, I take him for Larry Brown just because of the way the NBA is, man. Now
I wouldn't take. Well, I'll take Jeff before Stan. Jeff's a better coach than Stan, in my opinion. But I wouldn't. Mark Jackson and Jason Kidd is the two guys I'm looking at. If I'm a Pelicans and underneath them, Will Weaver, I'm looking at but Kidd or Mark Jackson. So I don't know if they interview Mark Jackson, but it's saying Jerry West. Let's see. Currently, I don't know where they're saying currently.
Jerry West ain't trying to coach, man.
No, it's saying American basketball executive. He's an executive right now, and according to what they're saying, and it's some kind of way they're saying he's tied. I think he's tied to the Clippers right now, if I'm not mistaken. But he's not saying he's a general manager. But is he the general manager?
I thought he was the general manager of the Clippers, but he's making personnel decisions over there, obviously. Jerry West is who set up the Lakers for the Shaq and Kobe Lakers. Jerry West got Kobe to the Lakers.
Yeah.
Easily. And they kicked him out of the Lakers. So to me, Jerry West is over there
getting some revenge.
Well, now they about to move out of the building, I think, next year. But that's his whole thing, man. He wants to make the Clippers that team in LA. Like how the Lakers work, because he's obviously got a grudge against them getting rid of him, which I don't think they should have got rid of.
Yeah, he's a consultant. Jerry West returns. They're saying that he's a consultant, just like I said, he was an advisor. He probably
ain't gonna stop till they win a championship, Big Q.
Yeah, They're saying he agreed. Now, when was this article written? From the Bleacher Report, saying that he agreed to a new contract. Let me pull this up just to get clear on what his role is. But I thought he was an advisor. Current, let me see. When was this written here? All right, this was May 2019. They're saying Jerry West agreed to a new contract to continue as the franchise consultant. So that's what I'm saying. He's a consultant. Clippers have retained general manager Michael Winger and assistant general manager Trent Redden this offseason, even though both men were wooed by other franchises. But of course, remember they downsized Doc Rivers some time ago. When they when they had that issue, when they had winning issues, they downsized him, took a lot of that power away from him. But he's a consultant with those other guys. But anyway, right now with less than 2 seconds left in the game with the Miami Heat, the Heat are up by 1 in a fantastic matchup that's going on. So DC, listen. So one way or another,
they're trying to make them sweat, bro.
Right. If it's not over tonight, it'll more than certainly be over. I think the next game will be if they do pull it off.
I gotta see how they lost tonight, bro. Because how they lose tonight could mean a lot for that next game. If it was a situation where somebody choked or something, I don't know, Big Q. That pressure gonna be a lot bigger in Game 6 than it was tonight if they choked it away.
Well, it's up.
I gotta watch the full quarter.
110-108 right now. Less than 1.6 seconds on the clock. And
AD did hit that shot last time.
All right, so there it is. But anyway, DC, man, listen, man, this is pretty interesting, man, to say the least, about what the Pelicans' potentiality is. Jay Survivor, big ups to you. Good to see you in the chat, fam. Thank you for joining us on this episode. Like I said, I like to apologize. I'm about to say apologize. I like to apologize to all the family members for our internet service due to bad weather. We're undergoing bad weather right now, and that's what's screwing up with the signal. But I thank all y'all for joining us on this one. GMK says Stan Van Gundy fits perfectly. I don't like Stan Van Gundy. I think he screams and yells a little too much. But he hadn't won enough to.
Coach.
No, he's not it. He's not it, bro.
I mean, the man made it to the finals, bro. But I mean,
all right, we got a final. Miami won 111-108, so they extend out the series now. I think game number what is it? Game number 5,
Game 6. Bro.
6 is going to be.
This for 5 tonight.
So game 6 will be Sunday, deciding game, man. And then there it is. Miami sneaks out a win. Mozzie survives for at least another couple of days.
Mozzie riding with the Heat, man, to keep him some rope to jump on that bed.
I'm telling you, don't it? But I'd like to thank everybody for joining us on the Pelican for tonight. Please hit the like button. Please share the show's link. Subscribe if you're not a Pelican subscriber. And we'll be back next Friday at 9 o'clock with more Pelican news. From me and DC, peace.
All right.
Are you a Pelicans fan? Check out the Pelican postgame report on the PRO Media Network.
The Kleins family has been getting people to go nuts for old nuts since 1995. As legends have it, a number of the Kleins friends who heard the idea said you can go nuts trying to name a store like that. In the excitement, the Kleins thought their friends said old nuts instead of go nuts and proceeded to throw caution to the wind. Old Nuts has over 2,000 items, bulk and wholesale prices of a whole lot of your favorite fruits, nuts, and confections, a selection of gift baskets for any budget, any occasion, and provides one of the best and impressively rated shopping experiences on the web. Fact is, between their selection, service, speed, or their online presence and the virtual mirror retail experience, they have developed an enviable client base that's comprised of personal and professional customers who count on their remarkable range of gift baskets. Think of gift basket, think about Old Nuts. Check them out, oldnuts.com. Check the link in the description section. Boom.